What's up? Whoa, look at this. Hey, it's Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, and OneTrueSportTV.com. But per usual, per Friday, I'm here with Mr. Robert Karpelis, WE Creative _ish. We got some Dynamite to preview. I even forgot to put SmackDown on the tap. But Robert, how are you this fine Friday?
I am doing well. Happy to be here on a Friday for as long as I can be. I've got some work being done at the house. The dog less than thrilled about what's going on here. So if for whatever reason I suddenly vanish, fear not, I have not been kidnapped by Tony Khan, because that would require getting everyone together to plan out the kidnapping, Dom.
That's it. That is part of a good kidnapping heist. And thankfully, Robert is not a part of that. But you all are going to be a part of our show today. Let's give some shout outs to some folks and say hi to the people in the house. Triple E says, what's up? Willie Thornbrew, happy Friday. Bring on the RNI and Wrestling Old Head. The only acceptable way for Typhoon to get to the podium to accept the award is by crashing through a nearby wall.
How dare you? How dare you, Wrestling Old Head? There are so many more dignified ways to honor a man like Typhoon. And that's with a very loud tugboat noise.
That absolutely 100%. Eric says KO Sammy at Elimination Chamber, 12th 5-star rated match by Meltzer in WWE history. He gave that 5 stars, Robert. Wow.
People loved that match. I was not as enamored with that match as other people were. And I know in talking with Scott Chapman and talking with Mike Lawrence, we all kind of felt the same way. Like it was good. Didn't think it was the best match they've ever had, let alone a 5-star classic match. But, you know, who are we to argue with Dave Meltzer, who's never, ever wrong and has never deleted a tweet?
Never has he done such a thing. Well, hey, real quick then, let's get your thoughts. It was announced yesterday, or not announced, but reported yesterday that, the Natural Disasters are going to be WWE Hall of Famers in 2025. Robert, what's your reaction to that? We have a big friend in Mike Lawrence, who's a big fan.
The first thing I thought was, what is Mike dying of, and how was this his Make-A-Wish?
Yeah,
this is it's great news. Both of them are obviously deserving. Look, Earthquake was deserving on his own. Mm-hmm. There's no question about that. The man, John Tenta, had a remarkable career. The number of goofy gimmicks he had in WCW notwithstanding, I mean, Earthquake was a major heel force growing up as a kid in the early 90s in the WWF. This was a man who put Hogan on the shelf. He killed Damien.
That's right.
He was part of some major moments. And then the Natural Disasters as a team was a lot of fun. The tugboat turn to Typhoon, it's a Stanley level of alliteration right there, was memorable. These are both guys who, they deserve to be in there. And it's a way to kind of put them in without it just being Earthquake. Because you could have just done a posthumous induction for John Tenta. Mm-hmm. But they don't love to just do inductions for people who've passed away, because you want someone up on the stage. You want somebody to be able to stand up there and wave. This is a good way to do that. Obviously, Typhoon's son works at WWE. He's been a timekeeper for them. So it's a cool opportunity to celebrate him, and not to be totally callous and obnoxious, but this is a great way to give a payday to both of these families. They're going to get residuals. You're going to get Earthquake and Typhoon in the video games going forward. Now I'll show. I've got loading on the TV there. The WWE 2K25. It's at 60% done. I'm excited about it. I was talking to a friend of the show, a friend of Working Stiff, former WWE writer Alex Greenfield, who's one of the folks who worked on this game, and he has said it's a hell of a game. They worked really hard on that storyline mode, so I'm excited to see it.
Ooh, you'll have to give us a little review on Monday.
I will not. I'm not good at the video game. They start talking about the stuff. It's like, I like what I like in the games, and what I don't like tends to be AEW Fight Forever. But here's where we are.
Yeah, I think it's a great move though with the Natural Disasters. There's such a classic looking tag team together. It really brings the big man. You know, you don't get too much of the big men anymore, so it's neat to see all that happen too. And I'm all for it. I think it's a great thing. Very happy for Mike Lawrence.
Well, I'm very happy that you yesterday got a chance to participate in the Tony Khan media call. How did that go, Dom?
Honestly, like it went pretty well. Some of the questions typically can be a little like, I don't know, whatever. But I think
That was dynamite explanation, by the way, for those who just some of those
that's my
questions
Orange
can be kind
Cassidy,
of whatever.
that's my Orange Cassidy assessment of it all. But I think some of the comments Tony had were interesting, and including the one I asked about production meetings. I asked him what the reports of him not having production meetings and how does he handle it backstage.
And what was his quote? What did he say in that?
Well, I'm going to try to tighten it up a little bit, but this is what he had to say. Yeah, I meet with everybody involved several times a day in a couple of different groups, at a few different working groups, and I've got all of the commentators. I've got the top production people led by Mike Mansuri and his group. Shout out to him. And coaches. I'll meet with them individually and in groups. I'll get the production people and commentators together. I'll get with the individual coaches. The coaches will also meet with the production people. We'll go over things throughout the day. And like all processes in life, I think we're constantly looking at this. When you depend on people, there's got to be good communication between people. It's one of those things that I'm constantly looking at and I want to do better with, always, with everything. I do think a great process for us, and we have great shows recently. I'm very proud of the shows. And then he also went on to add too about the report itself. He helped, let me see where I'm going to start here. When I was first breaking in 10, 12 years ago, I used to think about that stuff a lot more. He's referring to like the people backtracking. That's what he's saying. But in this case, referring to the
you've completely lost me. I literally was following along, and then this turned in. This is word salad, and I'm totally lost. We're gonna stop with the rest of what I don't know what you were even remotely discussing, but the way that he just described how he runs his show.
Yes.
If I'm understanding, if I'm parsing what was happening before you went off the rails, as I realized you're dressed like that lady in Fight Club who was in the cancer support group and was talking about how she had a box of sex toys. That's entirely how you are dressed right now, and I can't unsee this.
Awesome. I've never seen Fight Club, so I don't know.
How have you never? Wait, you've never seen Fight Club?
People don't talk about it.
You're testing my patience on a Friday, Dom. Tony's answer was the most illogical, nonsensical answer to an honest, straightforward question I've possibly ever heard outside of Bertie Bruce's response in Mallrats. The idea of a production meeting, as someone who has worked for 3 separate wrestling companies and has put on dozens, if not hundreds, of wrestling shows, you sit everyone down in a room. You have your commentators, you have your production people, your lighting people, you have your technical people, you have your coaches, agents, whatever you want to call them. You have everybody in one space to go over every part of the show so that everybody hears the same singular clear message. Everybody can discuss the same singular issue he or she may be having. Hey, for match number 4, when guy A puts guy B through a table, I need to know where the camera guys are going to be. I need to make sure the lighting is set up. I need to make sure the commentators know when to get the hell out of the way. Hey, if in match 4, a guy's going through the announce table, we need to make sure in match 2, nobody's going through the announce table. We need to make sure when the agents are working with talent, they know stay away from the announce table at any point in time during the night. We also need to make sure that we know that our crew needs to go out there after match 4 to fix the announce table. We need to make sure we have backup headsets, that we have backup sheets for these guys, because sometimes those run sheets go flying throughout the air and then they're flying blind.
Yeah.
It's why everybody needs to sit in one room at one time. There has never, in my time in WWE, my time in MLW, my time in even doing BRCW, which is a more local show, we have not all sat in the same room at the same time and worked through the show. And in talking with our friends of the show, Mike Lawrence and Dan St. Germain and Scott Chaplin, who have all worked on a variety of other productions throughout the years, whether that was roasts or sitcoms or comedy specials or award shows, whatever it is, there is always one singular production meeting. It is one single source of truth. So this answer proves, without a shadow of a doubt, The man does not know what he's doing as far as a production meeting is concerned. And I know Mike Mansouri. Mike Mansouri is a brilliant producer. He is a guy that tries to keep his finger on the pulse of everything. It is impossible for him to have to keep track of everything that's being told to every individual producer and every little sub meeting and every little whatever. What this feels like is Tony Khan is so concerned about being in front of an audience of people, his entire production empire, and somebody calling into question what he's doing. Where it's saying, hey, you're doing this. Why are we doing this instead of doing that? What is the order of this? Why does this not make sense? Why is this pre-tape going here? It is so insecure and so bizarre. And then for him to get mad about people reporting on this, these are people who have worked in the wrestling industry for a very long time. There is a reason certain tried and true things operate smoothly. And it's not just in wrestling. I worked in professional boxing, worked for Showtime Network. We sat and we had a production meeting.
NHL?
To go over what?
NHL too?
I was getting to that.
Oh, okay.
I was building, Dom.
I was helping you.
It was a narrative build.
Okay.
In boxing, where you don't know the outcome of the matches, you're still walking through who's coming out first, who's coming out second, what's the music, what's the lighting, what are the segments, when are you going to a B-roll pre-tape, when are you doing a live ringside announce. For hockey games, every Florida Panthers game had a production meeting in advance to go over everything because it was a show. It's essentially scripted as a show with the exception of the actual on-ice game. You need a single plan of attack. If not, you wind up with chaos and hodgepodge situations and all of these Monday morning quarterbacks who are going, hey, there are these problems with your show. How did you not catch this in advance? And this is why. Like, I get that you are a wrestling journalist, but the fact that you asked a singular softball question and he whiffed so spectacularly, it shows me this is not a serious man at a serious moment running a serious wrestling company. And I am floored, genuinely floored.
Yeah. Even in our group chat, like you were saying, like Michael Lawrence mentioned about it, you do the simple things, even introducing yourself and saying what your role is, like on what your objective is for that day. And like just going around and doing the basic things like that, just so people are aware of what everybody's doing.
By the way, you'd be amazed at how much better it makes your show.
Right. Yeah. It's a communal effort then. It feels more like a group effort when you do that kind of stuff. And
one of the smartest people in our WWE production meetings is there now in AEW. That's Dean Malenko.
Oh, yeah.
Dean Malenko would be the guy that would sit there, listen, and just go, hey, have we considered X? And even Vince would, that's a great idea. Let's look at this. Let's do this. You know, if you're having guy A come out versus guy B, when you're going to your commercial beat, like how much time you're giving matches, all these things that are being thought out. And when you put it in front of a group, and if it's bulletproof, if it's Teflon, no one's going to say anything. Great. You put together a brilliant show. It all makes perfect sense. The production style makes sense. The creative makes sense. The match order makes sense. It's all great. We can move forward. But if not, listen to the smart people you've hired. Mike Mansouri, extremely smart guy. Dean Malenko, extremely smart guy. A lot of the other folks that are probably sitting in on those production meetings as coaches, Jerry Lynn, QT Marshall, Taz, Shivani. These are people who've been around the block once in a while. They know what they're talking about. Let them all be there. Instead, this just feels like a very insecure guy who's trying desperately to do what it is that he wants while he's watching his audience erode spectacularly. And I'll be honest, it probably is Revolution time for that company.
It is. And let's talk a little bit about Revolution. He did say during the conference call that this is going to be a historically making pay-per-view for them. So we'll have to wait and see. But
what pay-per-view of theirs is not a historic pay-per-view for them?
It's a fair point. I thought the same thing as well.
Like the thing about their pay-per-view, it's, you know, the thing when it comes to AEW is this idea that when it's pay-per-view, they show up.
Yeah.
Week in, week out, you might not get a great performance, but once a month, once every other month, once a quarter, you're gonna get a total banger. And guys, if you're worried about your averages and you want to make sure that you're delivering the dynamite each and every week, you can have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets. These erection-enhancing tablets help men achieve stronger, harder, and longer-lasting erections for sexual activity. Blue Chew is putting its money where its mouth is and offering you a month free. Process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door, so you can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. You and your penis don't need to have a production meeting. All you need is that Blue Chew, and you're going to be ready to go. So make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring that terrible graphic for Rumor and Innuendo.
Marty likes it.
Yeah, Marty's thrilled right now. Dom, I'll let you talk for a moment.
All right. Yes, let's preview a little bit of the Dynamite here, or not the Dynamite, the Revolution we got going on this weekend.
No, you can still keep me on.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to split me off the screen.
Oh, I thought you were leaving.
No, I'm sitting right here. I was just letting you talk.
Okay.
Jeez, I got booted from the show. I got booted from my own show.
I was trying to make
great.
a transition. All right. Well, so we have Outrunners and the Hurt Syndicate, AEW Tag Team Championship going down. Hurt Syndicate has obviously been on a big role, and they've been positioned pretty darn well as the tag team champions. But I mean, the Outrunners, it seems like they've really got a groundswell and a grassroots kind of growth when it comes to fandom. So, Robert, do you see, is there a chance that the Outrunners could win this match?
I mean, there is always the possibility that someone on the Hurt Syndicate has a heart attack mid-match, and that happens. Now, the Outrunners are a great team for AEW TV. They're wildly entertaining. They're over. They're popular. They are the kind of sympathetic baby faces that the Hurt Syndicate ultimately beating makes the Hurt Syndicate a better team. The story here is not Outrunners winning. It's the fact that the Hurt Syndicate thought these guys were the easier path than the murder machines. So when the Outrunners give them a run for their money, it's a good storyline. And I think these guys are going to have a really great match.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And heck, I would even kick the show off with that one, I think. We will also have Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay, but it's in a steel cage, Robert.
So it's funny you say starting that match with the first match. I agree. I think it's weird to say. It's that there's almost too many blood feuds on one show.
Yeah.
Where, so many of these guys have deep-rooted, long-term backstories and want to kill one another that you need to make sure that they don't lose their thread. Like this Kyle Fletcher Will Ospreay match. They obviously go back a long ways in real life. The betrayal that Ospreay is feeling has led to this match here. You want to see him get his revenge. But when you get that catharsis of the revenge and a blood feud too many times in a show, it can get a little muddied.
Yes, definitely can. You predict Ospreay coming out on top on this, or would it benefit Fletcher to get the win over Ospreay on this one?
No, I think Ospreay is the one that's got to get the win here because I think this has got to kind of finish off this particular feud. I think that the idea that Mark Davis may wind up coming into play, perhaps accidentally trying to help and costing Kyle Fletcher the match, and then you can move on to Fletcher and Davis and let Ospreay move on to something different.
Yeah, I think that's it. And yeah, you just want to keep Ospreay hot. He's just such a great baby face. If anybody got to catch any of his interview with Chris Van Vliet, people really enjoyed that too. So be sure to check that out if you can.
Way to plug. Of all the shows you do plug, you choose to plug a show that we don't even produce. And I love Chris, but still.
Hey, well, we didn't produce this match either. It's Okada versus Brody King. I didn't know this was on the card, but it's Continental title match.
Yeah. We didn't know until I think Dynamite this week, but as far as thrown together last minute matches, should be a hell of a match.
Yeah. Styles makes fights. This one should be a good one. I would imagine Okada comes out on top though.
Agreed.
Mercedes Moné. Now I'm going to butcher the name. Momo Watanabe.
Momo Watanabe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
TV championship. Mercedes gonna win.
Even my dog agreed on that one. This is, again, we had said before, Harley Cameron should have beat Mercedes Moné. You could have done the rematch here. You could have given Harley Cameron a 3-week run with the title, and then Mercedes takes it back.
Yeah.
Or somehow you have Harley retain. And the crowd's super into it and excited. Instead, you're asking them to care about another new talent, someone who's not even a part of the AEW company, who every other time this winds up happening, whether this is Mina Shirakawa or Riho, they show up, they face her, and then they kind of vanish into the black hole ether. And I feel like that's where Momo's going to go. The astonishing thing about Momo, I thought Momo was like 45 years old. She's 24.
What?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Well, yeah, it's every other month, Robert. It's like, oh, hey, Mercedes has a feud with a AEW main roster star, and let's insert somebody else so she just gets another win. That's what it feels like.
Look what they've done. I mean, look, Shida's been blowing it out the last couple of weeks on Dynamite. Banger after banger. It's been great to see Hikaru Shida out there all the time. Wait, no, she's missing. And then Julia Hart, we got all those great video packages for her, and now she's no. Britt Baker, no. What's the next match, Dom?
Let's figure that out here. Oh, did I exit out of it? Dang it, Dom.
Jeez.
I'm a mess. Hold on a second. I had
you are a mess.
Omega versus Takeshita. I almost butchered his name again. Dang it. I'm failing.
Yeah. So they've made a big deal about the fact that Kenny Omega has not beaten Konosuke Takeshita before. We know that at All in Texas, it's going to be Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega. That's where this has been going for a long time. That is a perfect opportunity to unify these two completely interchangeable and useless titles. Yes. So I would imagine that Kenny Omega is finally going to get the win over Takeshita in what should be a hell of a match.
And then afterwards, Robert, I hope Kenny Omega fights Danny Garcia and they merge all those titles together. All of them. Let's do it. All right. Hey, this is a match I'm looking forward to. Is Ricochet versus Swerve Strickland. Great build for this stuff, I think, Robert. Is Prince Nana coming into play in this one, you think? Oh, he's muted. Never mind. Okay. Hey, I was looking at the card. I think for this one that I think Prince Nana's going to backstab Swerve in this one. I think that's what's going to happen. And we're going to get Ricochet with Prince Nana, a heel Nana, and there's a reason that robe wasn't there on Dynamite. So that is my prediction. And I think that's the way to kind of go. And that's weird because you would all look at Marty. Look at Marty. My goodness.
We're getting a little dog cameo here is that's fine. Anyway, Swerve and Ricochet.
Yeah, what do you think about
everything you said? 100% wrong.
Oh, good.
How does that work? No, it's number one contendership. They're going with Swerve and Moxley in probably a Dynasty it's in Destiny Dynasty, whatever the next one is. So yeah, you need Swerve to win this. That's why Ricochet got the pin twice in a row, and you need Swerve to recover and be the face of the company going forward.
Yeah, I went out on a limb on that one though. Why not? Let's see here. MJF versus Hangman Page. Loving the feud for this one too, Robert. Well, how do you think that what's going to transpire in this match?
I think there's a lot of mileage and juice left in this. So my guess is if the story here is that everything that Hangman does that is dastardly and evil gets him cheered, he'll do something dastardly and evil. He'll get disqualified. Max will get the win. They'll get a chance to a rematch. And Max can bellyache and complain about the fact that the crowd cheered Page for doing something truly despicable.
Yeah, I think you can definitely do some more with this one too. So yeah, I think Page gets the win. Okay. AEW Women's World Championship match. It is Toni Storm versus Mariah May, the Hollywood ending. Did not know. Tony Khan did add a fact that their angle is based off of a Betty Davis movie, All About Eve.
Yes.
Did not realize.
This is 100% All About Eve. And it's all about the fact that neither one of them really have a strong direction to go after this. So I would assume, since they just put it back on Tony, that she'll keep it. And then maybe you try to heat up someone like Megan Bayne.
Something like that. For Tony or for Mariah?
For Tony.
For Tony. Okay. Yeah.
Also, my hope is when that match is over, that they roll credits over the screen.
Oh, that would be nice.
They can bring back the old thing from the first Slammies where the producer was Kay Fabe.
Oh, God. That's great. Hey, well, you can hope, but you also get some cope, Robert. And that is in the AEW World Heavyweight title match. It is Cope taking on champion Jon Moxley. Main event here. What do you think's going to go down?
I mean, obviously, Jay White is going to be in the corner of Cope.
Sure. So
and he's got one thing in mind, and that is to watch the back of Cope. Clearly, the Jay White babyface turn has produced nothing but success, and it would be foolish and downright ridiculous for Moxley, who now doesn't have anybody by his side, to recruit a man like Jay White to help him. So clearly, we're getting a new AEW World Champion with a bright young man.
Oh, yes, I agree.
No, this is 1,000% Moxley to move on to hopefully Moxley and Swerve, and then the story there is Swerve with Ospreay by his side, maybe Darby by his side, whoever it's like, just taking the damn company back.
Yeah, they got to do something. They got to do something with that. I think. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Wheeler Yuta comes into play too later on.
There's no such thing as the phrase "interesting" in Wheeler Yuta. I'm kidding. I love you, Yuta. You're the best.
Well, that's it, guys. That's the preview.
Preview took 10 minutes. That show's going to be 4.5. I am really excited because Monday, unfortunately, I will not be here. I have jury duty.
Oh.
And so while I am sitting in the sequester room waiting to see if I get called, if I get picked, like one of the aliens in that crane machine in Toy Story, I will be watching this pay-per-view on my phone.
How about that? Wow. Jury duty.
And because I'm in a courtroom by completely legal means.
Yes. Hey, I won't be here on Monday. I won't.
Where are you?
I'm in New York City, baby. Gonna see Glengarry Glen Ross.
Damn it. So I was in New York last weekend, and I started doing the math where I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, I can come into town to see Glengarry Glen Ross and George Clooney in Good Night and Good Luck on the same day.
He's doing a play of that?
They're doing They're doing Good Night and Good Luck. It's him and Clark Gregg, who I'm a huge Clark Gregg fan.
Did not know that. Wow, that's awesome.
And Glengarry Glen Ross, obviously I'm a big Mammoth guy. Clark Gregg in my favorite Mammoth movie, State and Maine. Oh,
I did not know that. I was in sexual perversity in Chicago when I was in college.
Were you now? That's by the way, great play. Terrible movie remakes.
Oh, horrible movie.
About Last Night, I believe is what it was. Yeah, no, that movie is unwatchable. But if you go look up the play, there's footage. It's like a clip. James Roday, the guy from I think Psych and a couple other shows, was in a performance of it, and it's hilarious.
Ooh, yeah,
it's a really dark, twisted, weird. The flak jacket part alone is absolutely tremendous. I can't believe. Wait, does this exist on video somewhere?
I wish it did, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, this is a shame.
My favorite role I've ever done, I think, was that one. Was Bernie.
It's the part you were born to play. I believe you as a deviant.
Yeah, right. I fit the bill.
Yes. So I'm excited. Yeah, and you get to see Michael McKean.
Yes. Bill Burr, Kieran Culkin,
Bob
Odenkirk. I'm very excited.
So that's a hell of a crew.
We'll give a report on that on Wednesday when I be back. I won't be back on Tuesday either. So I'll be.
So I'm all right. So then there won't be a show on Monday at all.
No. Well, unless we get Kev to sub, and we could maybe get Kev to sub.
I'm not going to be here on Monday, Dom.
Oh, gotcha.
I tell you what, get Kevin for Tuesday so we can talk about Raw, and we'll talk about the Revolution then. We will unfortunately have to miss our Monday live show, but we will be here Tuesday through Friday and every other week, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms, including WWE Creative _ISH X account, the @Dominic D'Angelo X account, the @SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo, ad-free shows, and Working Stiff on behalf of the man who is going to be Missing in action on Monday. Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelos. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
And hey, don't you dare talk about Fight Club.